Hey, and good morning, everybody. Meteorologist Greg Majeski coming to you here on the Weather Nerds YouTube channel with the Weather Report, doing this version live today because there's just so much going on, and I didn't really have time to put a lot of production stuff together, so I wanted to give you guys a live update. Now, those of you who can watch me on a regular basis know that I do not hype every storm as storm of the century or a big deal. I do that deliberately because when we do get big winter events, I want folks to not take it seriously, or to take it seriously to know that something significant is coming. And I've gotten to the point now after watching model data over the last 3 days to where I see something that's coming or developing that looks historic, and I'm not throwing around that word lightly, and significant. I'm hoping that it does not come to fruition and be as bad as it could potentially be, and I will take that heat round if it turns out to be not nearly as bad. I'll be okay with that. But my job, one of the jobs I see for myself here, is to be your advocate and to keep y'all prepared and not scared. That's the motto of this station. All right. So again, I like to always invite new followers here on the page, or new subscribers here on the channel. And if you like that approach, please, by all means, subscribe. But I always tell folks, go with who you feel most comfortable with. If your local weather guy in your market is your guy, go to that person. Go with who you feel comfortable with. If the Godfather and the Kid are your guys, go to them, whoever makes you comfortable. But again, just want to get you guys prepared. So what exactly is going on? Let's try to break this down. This will not be overly techno-geeky stuff. We're just going to get right into the meat and potatoes of things here on this update, all right? Now, here's what we got going on. We got some very cold air. We got polar air that's just kind of dumbing down. I want you to think of this polar air as one big, giant mountain, okay? It is a force of nature. It is a big old dome of some very cold, dense air that's going to be sinking southward. What it's doing, it's going to play bumper cars. All right. It's going to have this mild air to the south that's going to bump into. All right. Now, what it's going to do, now cold air is heavier than mild air, and it's going to shove it up. It's going to lift it, and it's going to cause rain to form, precipitation to form, because cold air cannot hold as much moisture as warm air can. All right. So we're going to get something, and it's going to be a battle zone that's going to stretch here from the Carolinas all the way back into Texas here and Oklahoma, here across the south. Now, where exactly that battle line sets up, as far as that freezing line and everything else, where does it go? That still remains to be seen because we're still about 4 days out, okay? But it does look like something substantial. This looks like low. It is what we call a baroclinic zone, where basically where these two air masses are bumping into, playing bumper cars, all right? That's what we're going to be watching very closely. So there are different levels of precipitation, all right, that we're dealing with for this event. Okay, now when the atmosphere is cold all the way down, we know it's cold all the way down. We got snow all the way down. Now, if we get a little bit of a warm layer in here, and it falls to snow, melts back to rain, turns back into ice, and it goes to sleet. Now, these first two things, I can handle that pretty well. We're okay. It's this bad boy over here, freezing rain, that is the absolute worst. And I will tell you, the European model, one of my preferred favorite models, what it has been kicking out as far as potential freezing rain and the coding thereof is something unprecedented and something I've not seen. It's been hinting or going back to this for 3 straight days now. One thing you look for when you're a forecaster is you look for model continuity. That's what you're looking for. So that's what I'm looking at. So what we're going to look at here first, again, we're going to focus on the storms. I'm not worried about the short-term forecast. We're looking at what is going to go on for this upcoming week. All right. So we're going to start basically from late Thursday and go right into the upcoming weekend. So let's take a look at this. Let me get this up for you here. Get to the right map. There we go. All right. So we're going to look at the European first, and then we're going to look at the GFS. All right. European model. For those who don't know, that tends to be the better model of the two. It tends to do a better job with winter weather. There are distinct differences between the two, and I want to point this out as we go through this update. All right, so let's go through this as we watch what's going on. Again, we got this cold air. Here's our cold air is just dumping. You got a 1054 high pressure system right there. You got this bitterly cold air that's coming down in here, and the zone where the mountain is running into that other air mass is setting up in that zone. All right, so watch closely as we go through this. All right. Now, the distinct difference between, this is going to late Friday, this is 1 o'clock in the morning. The distinct difference between the European and the GFS is that the European is keeping it snow and basically goes from snow straight to freezing rain. There's a very, very slim transition zone to sleet. It's either or. It tells you how cold that air mass is and how abruptly the change is between the two air masses are. All right? I mean, they're lovers. They're snuggling up against each other pretty badly. All right. So this is creating that freezing rain starting here on Friday afternoon across Texas and going into Louisiana and then eventually stretching here all across the southeast. I mean, look at this. By Saturday night, you've got freezing rain stretching from the Carolina coast all the way back here to Texas. This is a huge freezing rain zone. Then on top of that, you got a pretty good heavy snow event on the northern part of this, all right, as these two air masses are bumping into each other. It's not really a low pressure per se. If you're going to put one, you put one right down here as it's tracking. It's really these two zones bumping into each other. And we do have a little bit of Pacific moisture here coming up too. Oops, sorry about that. Coming up right through here. All right. So La Nina has been dying out tremendously fast. So this will continue. This is a long duration event on top of that. This is not just something hit and run like we had over the weekend across South Georgia, for example, and Florida Panhandle. This is a prolonged event. It takes a long time for this to clear on out. Look at this. We're going throughout the day on Sunday, and then eventually it pulls out. This is going up to, this is the latest 6Z run. And at 1 o'clock in the morning, we're still dealing with this. Look at all that. Look at, and the snow's up in Ohio River Valley and then into the north. I'm going to switch this back to the 0Z here. It's a little bit different. So the new model is a little bit slower. This moves on out. So we get a little bit of a little nor'easter, looks like, briefly going by the northeast and pulls on out. So that's the European. Now let's look at the GFS. Same duration. You're going to notice some subtle differences with this one. All right. So this one's going to be a little bit different. The big difference you're going to notice is that there's a lot more orange in here. Now, what is orange? That's that sleet zone. So we got a little more traditional on this. It's showing the blue, the orange, which is your sleet, and then your pink, which is your freezing rain. Okay, now this high pressure on this map is not as strong as it appears to be 1048 than what the European is showing. It does show 1052. It weakens it to 1050, 1048. So it's a little slightly weaker. It's about, well, actually 1050. That's actually about the same. My bad. It's about the same, but it does weaken it a little bit. All right. So as this comes on through, you got the three zones battling it out. Much bigger sleet and freezing. Now, why is that a big deal? It's a big deal because sleet does not do as much damage to the power infrastructure as freezing rain does. All right. So this is a smaller freezing rain duration. Still a pretty hefty snow event. We're going to go through those here in a second. As this stretches on by, moves straight on out to sea, still lingers into Monday morning, and then clears out and plenty cold. Now, I will say this. If the European is correct, you're looking at not only power outages, but power outages that are going to, because so many states are being impacted here, it could take days to get it back fully restored. Days. You better treat this like a hurricane. But this is much bigger than even a hurricane dealing with. There's a lot of states that are going to got their red alerts on for all their power crews here. Basically, it might be a situation where the northern power states have to come south to help all the southern states deal with all the power outages as this pulls out. Now, let's go ahead and break this down. All right, we're going to look here first. This here is your snow total on the European. Pretty impressive. Not bad. I mean, you're looking at that pink zone. You're looking at quite a bit. Let's go into the south central first. We'll kind of break that down so you can kind of see this. We're looking at some pretty healthy snow totals here across Arkansas. Mick, you're looking at, that's what the European's kicking out. I'm not saying you're going to get that much, but yeah, 10, 11, 12 inches of snow. That's pretty significant. And, of course, it goes into the southeast, goes across Tennessee and into the Carolinas. I mean, very heavy snow. Now, I usually don't like showing snow totals this far out from a set event, but we're gonna make an exception on this one just because of the historic nature of what we're seeing here. All right, so that is that is the snow part. Let's go over to the sleet. Now, the sleet on the European is not overly high. All right, there you see it across the southeast. I see a couple inches back over here. Thank you, Julia. You're seeing some of that right in here. And you go into the south central United States here, you see it going back over through Texas and Oklahoma. So not as bad, but where it's bad, really bad, and I'm going to pull that up for you real quick. Let me get this up, is the freezing rain. So here across Texas, you're looking at 1.5 inches, 2 inches in here, up to 2 inches. That is more than enough to bring down a substantial amount of power outages there across Texas and in Louisiana and Arkansas on the southern part of this. So there's a snow duration, and then this continues into the southeast, and it gets even worse. This is in my backyard. So the Carolinas over toward Alabama and Georgia in here, you're looking at snow, ice accumulations. We're talking freezing rain of up to almost 3 inches showing up across Georgia. That would be catastrophic to the power grid if this holds true. Now, you might say, well, this is just a one-off. Not actually, no, because it first was showing this 3 days ago for that level of icing. It backed off a little bit yesterday. It's back up again today. There's going to be substantial icing. We're going to have power outages I don't see anywhere. And this is my preferred model of choice, but I am showing both of them here. They do make a big difference, okay? Now, let's look at the GFS. GFS, similar in that snow path. Very heavy snow showing up on both models. All right, let's go to the South Central first. Again, still showing a pretty hefty snow path across Texas, Oklahoma, into Arkansas, northern Mississippi. This now, one difference from yesterday, I will say, is it's slightly further south. Let's come down again. Again, watching where that line sets up is going to be key. And then this comes out. I mean, we're talking 2 feet of snow there into the Smokies. And it has come down. Yesterday, for example, I know for yesterday, it was basically right on the state line. It has shifted south just a little bit. Just a little. All right. Now, here's where the big difference between the two models really stands out. Look here at the sleet totals. Amazing sleet totals here. Just unreal. To get 6 inches of sleet, boy, you need a lot of precipitation because sleet, of course, is very small in nature. To get that level of sleet is just unreal. All right, so this sleet here extends here, and this would be better than freezing rain from, obviously, the Carolinas going all the way back here toward Texas, here across the south. And, of course, this goes into the south central. We back it up over here, all the way across Texas. Very heavy sleet event on the GFS. And then as we go over to the freezing rain event, let me go with the freezing rain total here. It's there, but not nearly as bad, all right? Here across Texas, it's showing about 1/2 inch into here. Whoops, get the right thing going, dummy. Here we go. See right through here. And then you got heavier amounts here across the southeast. So we go over here southeast. Still looking decent here across Alabama, Mississippi, and coming into Georgia there, but not nearly as bad there across Georgia, Carolina. So the two here, thank you, Mick. The two here show distinct differences in the two models. So again, and it makes all the difference in the world when we're talking about the different levels of impact: snow, sleet, and freezing rain. If you wanted to ask me which one I would like to see, the GFS, for obvious reasons. Less freezing rain, more sleet is better, and snow definitely better as far as the impact on the infrastructure power grid. You can still have power outages, but nowhere near the scale as a freezing rain event. All right, the confidence is fairly high of significant weather. So I've seen the Weather Service maps out here, and I should have probably brought it into this, and I didn't do it on this update. I'll do it tomorrow. Is running very high. Now, we know we're going to have some sort of winter event. The severity still needs to be determined, and where that freezing line is going to change from run to run. So I don't have any doubt by the time we get to the afternoon, it may change. It may sink further south. It may stay further north. It may oscillate, change a little bit. Where those two boundaries intersect with each other. So what I'm telling anybody here on my YouTube channel, anybody that's in that zone from say the Mid-Atlantic here, stretching all the way back here across the southeast, anywhere into this zone here, You guys need to prepare, especially if you're in those icing zones as advertised here. Let me go back over to this on the European model here. Let me go back over to the European. Hold on a second. Because this is historic. And I'm going to go back up to the continent of the United States here. This would be an unprecedented and an historic winter storm where we got icing here basically from the Carolinas all the way back through Texas. You're talking Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, dealing with potential millions, and I'm talking millions of power outages. And it could take days for it to go out. So kind of wrap this update up here. I want to talk about a couple things. If you're in this zone, treat this like a hurricane. I always tell you have to hurricane plan for 3 days, at least 3 days. So make sure you have non-perishable food. Make sure you have your latest prescriptions, drugs. Make sure you get, if you're low on anything, make sure you get that done. Make sure you got batteries. LED flashlights are better, by the way, because LED lights last a lot longer with a lower power threshold than traditional flashlights. So if you get LED flashlight, that'll probably be a little bit better. If you have generators, make sure they're serviced, make sure they're ready to go. Make sure you got fuel, obviously, and oil in them, ready to go. Check on the elderly. If you have elderly parents, something like that, and you got something like this going on, maybe you go ahead and have them stay with you so you can keep a watchful eye on them, okay? And make sure you got that. Pets, obviously, bring them inside. But to just get yourself, you got 4 days to prepare for this. If this turns out to be a big nothing burger, I'll eat that sandwich any day of the week. I'll tell you that right now. I have no problem. Again, like I think a lot of y'all watch me on a regular basis know that I do not treat every storm as a major break all, be all, end all storm. This one is different because this one is showing every indication after watching the model data here for the last 3 days. And I know we're still a few days out, and I know we still might see some changes. I'm using what my gut's telling me and what I've seen through my years of experience that this looks like this is going to be a significant event. To what degree and what level remains to be seen. So what I want folks to do is just to be prepared. And if the worst comes to pass and you're okay, and it didn't turn out as bad as we thought it was going to be, that's a good thing. But at least you're ready to go if something bad happened, and you can cuss me out later. All right. So anyway, that's our update here for today. I will probably do these as live updates here for the rest of the week in the morning. I am taking care of my local market as well. I do have 2 channels I support. Obviously, North Georgia Majestic Weather is my local channel. I will probably try to, when we get ready to do the coverage, we'll probably be streaming live coverage here on the channel and kind of looking, but I'll be focusing a lot on Georgia, just so you know, but I will be simulcasting on both channels, either here. The problem I've got is that my YouTube channel and my other YouTube channel, when I stream to one, I got to stream to both. So you're gonna get my stream going to both, as well as what's going on Facebook at the same time. So anyway, that's the plan for this week. All right, Mick, I appreciate it. Who we got up there on the chat? We got Raven. Good to see you there. Tyler, yeah, old reliable out there. Again, I know the big channels are going to be going all over this, so I'm just doing my little part of this. But my last Facebook audience I just did for my local area was through the roof. Very, very nice. So that's part of the reason why I went local. I can compete on local level, but I can't compete with those big guys for big events like this. It's just the YouTube algorithm don't like me too much. Anyway, that's it for now. You guys take it easy. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Again, I will do this live again tomorrow just because of the time factor of doing production and stuff. I just got a lot of stuff going on, and better to do these quickly and get you guys on your way. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow morning, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully, things will look a little bit better. But right now, it don't look too good. All right, we'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.